I'm Rachel, and today I'm going to be telling you about my 30-day sketchbook project so that you can do one too. Tips to get started is set up your environment in order to make it easy for you to sit down and journal. You want to clean up a space, set aside a tiny little corner, a desk, even if it's your dining table or a desk in your room, that has all of your supplies ready to go so that when you're ready to get started, there's no obstacle in the way. The second thing you need to do is to pick supplies that you really, really love. That goes for the journal itself as well for the type of art medium that you're going to be using. I have selected this journal that I purchased when I was in Disney Springs at a cute little store. I can't remember the name of it right now, but this journal has a leather cover and it has one of my favorite types of paper in it. It's Indian cotton rag paper. This paper has a texture to it and it's also very soft and very thick and very absorbent. So your pictures are not going to come out quite as detailed if you like that sort of thing, if you're working with watercolor or very wet media. It will be fine if you're working with something like acrylic that has a lot more strength and thickness to it. The media that I chose for this project is one of my favorite, fastest, quickest mediums, which is watercolor. I love working with watercolor, and I also selected gouache because of my paper type. This paper I knew is extremely absorbent and it can bleed out, and so I got gouache in case I needed to touch up a few places or if I wanted just to add some opaqueness to my drawings. You could choose something like pencil, marker, colored pencils, a combination of watercolor and colored pencils, whatever you wish, whatever you like. The key though is to select materials that you love to work with because that way you'll want to go sit down and sketch. The third tip is to pick a theme for your project. I picked a food theme because I love food, I love tasting food, and I love cooking. And this one I wanted to do just everyday objects that I see and maybe just change up the packaging. I wasn't going to go all in and spend hours on this. Literally, I spent anywhere from 10 to 15, maybe 20 minutes max on these drawings. So I wanted to make sure it was something that I could sit down and do, that I wouldn't dread doing, that I would feel like perfectionism is going to set in and I have to get it all just right. You want to overcome that obstacle. You don't want any fear of having to make something that you have to present as perfect and beautiful. This is a place like you would consider your junk drawer. Not that. That's not a great example. Your basement, your closet. It's a place to do a mind dump. It's to put your ideas down in a sketchy, messy way, in a way that makes you happy, in a way that makes you feel relaxed, in a way that you do not feel like somebody's looking over your shoulder going, "That's not right," like your art teacher back in high school. "You need to fix this." No, this is to have fun. So yeah. And the next tip is what I just said. It's to have fun with this. This is your project. This is to get you in the mode. This is kind of like a warm-up, you know, an icebreaker kind of thing to creating better art. When you sketchbook, when you sit down and just make sketchy, loose drawings, it gets your mind flowing, gets those creative juices flowing so that you can go on and create another project of something. Maybe one of the drawings you do is a springboard to something else. I don't know. So now I want to tell you what materials you need. You're going to need a sketchbook, the medium, art medium that you're working with, which is, for me, was watercolor and gouache. I have a large watercolor palette here that I have created from a lot of watercolors. I'll do another video on that sometime to show you how I did this. It has my favorite colors in here, minus one. For some reason, I did not get my white and my neutral gray, my white, my neutral gray, and my beige in here for some reason. But anyway, I like this watercolor palette. If you don't have one that big, don't worry about it. Just get something like this, or even one that a little watercolor set they sell in the store. This is another palette that I put together. As I've told you, I absolutely love watercolors, and I create a lot of different palettes with the favorite colors. This one's a brights palette, as you can see, full of bright, intense colors. And my gouache paints, you need to have a palette. I bought this from TJ Maxx or Home Goods for just a few dollars, and because it is ceramic or porcelain, it washes off easily. You can also use a dinner plate. I do that. I have a dinner plate that I use. If you buy a porcelain one at like a flea market or an antique store, those clean up quite easily. our dinner. I've also used our bread and butter plates and just put a piece of saran wrap on it when I'm using acrylic because you don't want to wash the paint down your sink. You will need paint brushes if you're using wet medium, a glass of water, and a desk. When you get farther along in your book, you might want to use a clip to be able to keep your pages from flipping back on top of the one you're working on. So these clips work well, and a blotter page I like if you're using wet medium to wipe your paintbrushes on. And that's all you really need to get started.
So here I am painting a quart of milk. Sure, the milk in my fridge doesn't look like this, but you know, I'm just having fun. We buy milk in gallons, and we buy 3 gallons at a time. So I told you that I picked food as my theme. Have you thought about what you're going to use as your theme yet? Well, what I didn't tell you was that I picked the theme food because I don't know about you, but I'm always looking for something to inspire me to cook for my family that evening. And I figure that if I do 30 days of images of food, that will inspire me to look at cookbooks and to get new ideas and fresh ideas of what I can cook for my family. I do love to cook, but you know, I can get into a rut and make the same things over and over again. I mean, my kids do like the same things, but even they do complain about the food that I make. So I wanted to pick a theme that would inspire me in my daily life to love where I'm at and to just have some fun. So I'm making the package look a little more interesting here, and I think I'm going to do that with each day that comes after this. What are you going to do as your theme? Maybe you just want to do something that's nature, like, you know, birds outside or leaves and plants or flowers or something like that. I don't know, but pick something that will inspire you to love the life that you now live. I mean, I know we all want our life to be a little bit better. I mean, sure, I'd love to sign up to Blue Apron and have meals sent to me that I can cook and it's all ready, but actually, you know what? That's not where I'm at right now. And I do like combing through cookbooks. I just, every once in a while, kind of just like say, oh, that looks too hard or that's going to take too much time. And I think if we do things that help inspire us to live the life that we want, to refresh our life and energize us, I think things like art can help us to do that in our life. So pick something that will help you where you're at in your life to love your life today. I'm going to start each day off by sketching with pencil the outline of the design that I want to paint. If you're the type of person who likes to grab their paints and just start painting without an outline, go for it. But for me, I kind of need that framework, kind of like a coloring book, to color in. And so that's how I'm going to do mine. But feel free to do whatever you like. Day 3 is eggs. Our family eats a lot of eggs. We love eggs. And in fact, we're having them for dinner tonight. Well, we get to buy our eggs from a lady who raises her own chickens and has a big garden, and she likes to sell us the extra eggs. I'm so grateful for this. They taste wonderful. For day 4, I am drawing a wedge of brie. I think that cheese should be its own food group. I'll never forget the day that my husband took me to a little cheese shop in the German Alps. It was called Käse Alm, and they had some amazing soft goat cheeses and some hard cheeses, and there was actually a demonstration going on, and they showed us how that they make cheese. It was a large vat that they stir it up and add the catalyst, rennet, or whatever it is that they add. My husband and I bought about 4 different cheeses and went out and had a picnic and had a wonderful day. Day 5 are preserves. I grew up in the South, and if you grew up in the South, you know that means having toast and jam for breakfast. Both of my grandparents on both sides of the family would make preserves. One grandmother always made fig was her favorite, and strawberry, and the other grandfather, he made figs from his fig tree as well as quince jam. Day 6 is yogurt. I don't know how our kids would have survived without yogurt. In fact, Stonyfield Farm organic banana and vanilla yogurt was one of the earliest foods that I fed our toddlers. I love yogurt and even got into yogurt making at one point in time because I read that if you make your own yogurt, it has millions of times more probiotics in it. It was pretty good, although it was a little bit more tart than the store-bought kind. Day 7 is vanilla extract. My kids know that I love to sniff the bottle of vanilla extract. Alright, it's not a perfume, but as far as I'm concerned, it almost is a perfume. The smell of vanilla extract is unlike anything else. I mean, it reminds me of the orchid room at Longwood Gardens, and my home is never without vanilla extract. In fact, I probably have about 3 or 4 varieties right now in my pantry. Day 8 is butter. Who doesn't love the taste of fresh butter? Well, if you're a child of the 70s or 80s and grew up in America, you may not have ever had real butter. I was one of those kids. I grew up with margarine. That stuff was good too, but I didn't know what to compare it to, except for when we went to restaurants. And you know what? I love the taste of sweet cream butter, those little pats that they would come in wrapped in foil, that I would take them home. One time I put them in my purse only to discover that they melted through the cover of my fabric purse. That was a disaster. Today I only cook with real butter and we have not bought margarine once. Like many kids in America, I grew up on peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. Well, fast forward to the health craze and I tried almond butter just like many other people who tried the nut butters of our day, sunflower, cashew, almond butter. These butters are good, they have a different flavor. I find almond butter to be pretty mild. My husband is German, and when we go over there, one thing I notice is that they have a huge variety of juices and that different flavored beverages are a big part of their culture. So when we go, our kids love to get Multivitaminsaft, or otherwise called ACE juice, and it's a mixture of all kinds of wonderful fruits and vegetables such as carrots and apples and lemons, oranges, bananas, whatnot, and it tastes amazing. I don't know about you, but one way to get me to eat more vegetables is to have a dip or a spread to dip the vegetables in. Hummus is one of those things. It makes anything taste good. Have you ever tried baked pears? You should. Basically, take some pears, you can peel them or not peel them, quarter them, and then pour over it some heavy whipping cream with a little bit of powdered sugar and lots of cinnamon, cloves, and nutmeg. Bake them for about 35 minutes on 375 or 400 degrees. Your house will smell heavenly. As I've mentioned before, my husband is German, and I noticed that upon marrying him, my house and pantry got filled with lots of varieties of mustard. We probably have no fewer than about 5 or 6 mustards in our pantry, in our fridge currently at this time. When our kids were young, we bought them the flavored oatmeal packets so that they could learn how to cook. Well, today they all know how to make their own oatmeal in a saucepan and add in things like apple pieces and bananas and cinnamon sugar and all kinds of wonderful things. How could I not draw a chocolate bar? I just had to. Chocolate is my absolute favorite flavor for dessert, and I have a secret stash of several chocolate bars in my drawer that I nibble on a little bit a day, just like Charlie Bucket did in the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory book. I think it's interesting how literature that we read as a child can influence us in such a big way. Although we buy store-bought muesli from time to time, I think it's a lot more fun to make our homemade granola. That way we can add the type of nuts that we like and the add-ins such as coconut or no coconut, vanilla extract or coconut extract, or cranberries or raisins or whatnot. Another one of my favorite products that comes directly from nature is maple syrup. If you've never had it, I highly suggest that you go and buy a small bottle, make some pancakes on the weekend, and savor every bite. What's your favorite flavor of ice cream to buy in pint size? Mine's Chunky Monkey. Food that's sold in small serving sizes like this in cute packaging always makes me feel like I'm having a mini celebration. So if you need that today, just do it. There were about 2 years of my life that I always had a cookie in my purse. I didn't put it in a bag like this, but I put it in a small plastic bento box so that it wouldn't crumble, and I pulled it out when I was in the car line waiting for my kids after school. What's your special snack? Growing up, my father liked to make real hot chocolate. He used real cocoa powder and sugar and milk. That's it. If you've only had the packaged kind, I highly suggest that you try this. It tastes quite different. Don't laugh, but we're one of those families that has a grain grinder. Well, my husband being from Germany, he wanted real German bread, and I set out to make it, and so I bought a grain grinder. I used a sourdough recipe, and it took 2 days to make a loaf of bread. The results were amazing, but my bakery days are over. Because we have an Aldi and a Lidl nearby, we can buy German bread. I think it's amazing that a long time ago, people didn't have access to sugar like we do today, and that's probably a good thing. I remember reading Little House on the Prairie, and every once in a while they bought a cone of sugar that they would scrape off into a treat. Our family eats a lot of rice. In fact, we buy the big 25-pound bags from Costco. A long time ago, we used to eat a lot of pasta, and we love pasta. But at one point, we switched over to rice, and now we eat way more rice than we do pasta. I call cinnamon the queen of all dry spices. We use it to make one of our favorite baked goods ever, homemade cinnamon buns. If you want a quick dinner idea, keep a couple cans of salmon in your pantry and you can easily make salmon patties, pan fry them, and voila, you have dinner. Although I'm not a huge olive fan, I think the real variety, the kind that you find on salad bars, they have such intense flavors and they can really dress up a salad. I don't remember when I discovered the San Marzano tomato, but since then I always have a can of these tomatoes in my pantry. You can add them to soups, to stews, to all sorts of dishes. Day 28 is olive oil. Many years ago, we switched to using almost exclusively olive oil and some coconut oil because of its health properties and because of its heat stability. You can use it for air frying, sautéing, stir frying, baking, and to put on your salads. Plus, it tastes delicious. Although we make a lot of real iced tea at home, I think it's fun to buy a bottled version of a new flavor that you've never tried and just try out something new. Day 30 is quinoa. We don't cook this grain too often, but we do it every once in a while and mix it up with some vegetables like carrots and asparagus, some lemon juice, a little feta cheese, and a meat or protein such as salmon bites or little pieces of chicken. It's delicious. Now it's time for the flip through. If you're going to do a project like this, it's okay if you miss a day or two. You can always make it up later, or it's okay if you don't even make it up. The point is to have fun, enjoy yourself, and to inspire yourself in an area of your life that you want to improve or see some change. For me, this is food. And yes, while working on the sketchbook project, I did sit down with some cookbooks and I did come up with a few new ideas for dinner, and I presented them to my family and everybody was so happy to have something new, and I enjoyed the whole process. I hope you are inspired to do something as well in your home.
If you do a sketchbook project, please let me know down in the comments below what your theme is. What did you pick and how did your project go? Did you end up enjoying it, loving it, hating it? Did you try out a new medium that you've never tried before? I'd love to know all about your project. Let's chat a little bit in the comments. Thanks for watching.
If you like to draw digitally, why not draw them in Procreate or in Photoshop? Create a digital sketchbook of food ideas. Also, if you've never heard of They Draw and Cook, they have a wonderful website where you can post your recipes and your illustrations too. Here are some that I have done for some of their food challenges. It's a great community and you'll get lots of ideas by looking at what other people have posted. The next food illustration I turned into a mug design and had it printed. I love that mug. Other ideas are doing puzzles or even using food illustrations for your advertising. Anyways, go make some art today!